First of all, today's talk is for the Refuah Shalema of Yosef Chaim ben Rivka, and also in honor of the birthday of Annabella ben Amron, who is coming a little bit late today, but very, very exciting. We're going to talk about Chanukah. Say this again?
And my son.
Oh, that's right!
And you know they're cousins.
You're cousins with everybody!
I mean, and my son are
It's like, yeah, this place, one day, somebody's going to do a genealogical tree on this place and find that there's only one branch of the whole tree. It's like fascinating. It's Scheck Hillel and Alabama. Those are the two places where that actually happens. So Chanukah's like a very exciting holiday. Everybody likes Chanukah. It's pretty. Chanukah's pretty, so there's that. And it's Christmas time. So it's only fair. Because like if they get a holiday, then we have to get a holiday, and they have red and green lights. We have blue and white lights. So nice, right? And then obviously not to be disqualified, now there's Kwanzaa with many different color lights. Everyone needs lights around this time of year. It's wonderful. And what are we celebrating exactly? Oh, you're gonna love this. What we're celebrating is a very, very long time ago, in the time of the Second Temple, the Greeks did not want to allow the Jews to worship as Jews. And we fought a civil war. And we won. We were victorious. And we went into the temple and we found that all of the oil in the temple was tameh. It was disqualified from use. It was impure. Impure oil. You can't light the menorah with impure oil. Everybody knows that. So they only had like a little bit of oil, right? A little flask. All your children learn about this in like kindergarten, right? They all know about the oil and they have little projects with the menorah. It's beautiful. They only had a little flask. And they put that in the menorah for the first day, and magically, it lasted 8 days. Wow, amazing. What a miracle. Which, by the way, it is in fact quite a tremendous miracle. I don't know if you've ever tried to fill up 100 cereal bowls with one little thing of milk. It doesn't work, right? You can't do that. You can't have 8 days of milk with one milk jug. You need 8 jugs of milk. But we suffice with one little jug of oil, and therefore, from then till forever, we're going to light Hanukkah candles on Christmas time. Interesting. I'll tell you what the problem is. There's only one problem. It's one very, very teeny tiny infinitesimal problem. The problem is, who exactly did this miracle help? I'll give you an example, right? Let's make this question a little bit fine-tuned. So, Passover. We were slaves, and then God made all these miracles, and we got out. Very nice, right? He split the sea. We were going to die, and he split the sea, and then we didn't die. Now, given the choice of die or not die, I choose not die. That's what I choose. Most people, I think, would choose that as well. Thankfully, Halavai Viter, it was a very, very helpful miracle, very, very useful. Sukkot, the people were outside, they had no shelter, and God put them either in these magical clouds or these huts, which gave them shelter. Would you say that shelter is helpful? Yes, I think it's very helpful, right? Mosquito nets in the Sudan, very helpful. Shelter is helpful. So that miracle was a useful miracle that helped many, many people. I can go on forever. You'll notice that there is a trend that goes through the Jewish holidays. We're saved. They tried to kill us. We won. Let's eat. This is every Jewish holiday. This is a very, very old joke. Everybody knows this joke. Purim. Hitler wants to kill us. Hitler's name is Haman. There's all sorts of Hitlers. Yeah, his name is Haman. He tries to kill us. He fails. Yay. Let's get drunk and dress up. Wonderful. Would you say that it is helpful when God saves you from death in Purim? Yes. Very helpful. Aha, good. Now, if you're able to light the candles of the menorah, who does that help? I'll give you a hint. Hello. I'll give you a hint. You know who it helps? No one. Okay, come on. Be real. Who cares? I don't mean this in a bad way. Who cares? The oil lasted. So what? It is the most useless miracle that you've ever heard of. You have to literally turn yourself into a mental pretzel to figure out why the miracle is useful. Well, because the Jews wouldn't have, for such a long time, they weren't able to light it, and now they are able to light it, and I don't know, it's a head scratcher. Then, by the way, just like tangentially, there's a law that says Tuma Hutra B'tzibur, which means that if everyone is impure, impurity is not a problem. So if they had no pure oil, they would have been allowed to light impure oil anyway, just tangentially, that's for you. It wouldn't have mattered. You would have been able to light the impure oil. According to the most Haredi, oy, long beard, no problem. You can light the impure oil and you're fine. So who does this miracle help? I don't know. I don't know who it helps. By the way, it's not the most impressive oil miracle that happens in the Jewish stuff. It's not. The most impressive, I think, the most impressive miracle relating to oil in the Jewish lexicon is a very, very little known story about Elisha the prophet. There was this lady and her husband died and she was very poor and he had all this debt and she had kids and she comes to the prophet, Elisha, and she says, Elisha, you have to help me. You have to help me. My husband died. We have debt. I only have 2 kids. I have no money. They're going to take my children and sell them into slavery to pay the debts. What can I do? And he says to her, do you have anything in the house? And she goes, the only thing I have in the house is a little jug of oil. That's literally the only possession that I have. That's nothing else. And Elisha says to her, here's what you're going to do. Lock the door. Take all of pots and pans. Borrow from everybody, all your neighbors, everyone you know. Borrow all their pots and pans. Take them into your house. Lock the door. And pour from that jug of oil into all of the pots and pans. And then you'll be able to use that oil to sell, pay your debt, keep your kids, and have a little bit left over. And in fact, she did that. The oil was like a clown car where it just kept going out and out and out and out and out. It was the non-exhaustive jug of oil, which lasted as long as she had more pots and pans to fill up. As soon as she ran out of receptacles for the oil, done, finished. Now, tell me something. Was that a helpful miracle? Oh, I'd say so. I'd say so, because if you're the 8-year-old who's about to be sold as a slave, believe me, that's a very useful miracle. But we don't talk about it that much. Well, why do you think Jews don't go around talking about it all that much? Because who did it help? The lady and her 2 kids. Okay, I mean, it's nice. I'm happy for her family, but it wasn't my family. I don't care that much about it. So it's not that famous a story. But you have to admit that it's a much more impressive miracle than the 8 oil things over here. So that's just bizarre. It's a problem. This is something you may have heard me say before, but you're going to hear me say it again many, many times, God willing, for the next 100 years. Jewish holidays are not commemorative events. They're not. They're not, well, something happened, so let's have a party. That's silly. Why do I need to do that? Something happened, that's very nice, l'chaim, mazel tov, and I'm going to move on with my life. Jewish holidays are relevant today, which means that when we get to Pesach, we have to understand what the relevance of leaving Egypt is today in 2018. Not, yay, it was so good because my ancestors were, because my ancestors were slaves, and now we're not slaves, and we haven't been slaves, by the way, for 3,300 years. For 3,300 years, you're not being thankful that your ancestors weren't slaves anymore. It has to do with you, and every single Jewish holiday is like that. And therefore, so is Chanukah, which means you're going to be rather hard-pressed to figure out what is the relevance of Chanukah. That we ran out of oil in a temple that we haven't had for 2,000 years, and that, thank God, we have this miracle and it lasted a week. So you're going to go and you're going to light your candles? It's amazing. You know what the most common question that I get about Chanukah is? It's so funny. This is the most common question I get. Rabbi, can we have stockings in our house? Is it cool if I have tinsel? It will be blue and white tinsel. Can I use blue and white tinsel? I'll be like, I mean, you can, but I wouldn't really. Rabbi, what about a tree? Can I have a tree? I'm going to decorate it with Magen David, little Jewish flags, lots of stars, pictures of my children, a Torah on top, dreidels. I promise you, I get this question all the time. That's the question. Why? Why do you think so many people ask that question? Because what else is Hanukkah? What else is it? Other than lighting candles and decorating things and eating really, really fatty fried foods, what else is it? It's nothing. So why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? It's such a silly thing to do. And furthermore, you look at the rabbis, you're like, I thought they were supposed to be intelligent. I thought these guys were really, really smart. Why would they institute a holiday that was based upon a meaningless miracle and it's no longer relevant? What a strange thing for them to do. I mean, honestly, this is like absolutely bizarre. Okay, so with that said, the truth is, that's not what Hanukkah is about at all. At all. Yeah, not even a little bit. You know, Hanukkah Hanukkah is a culture war. Hanukkah is a civil war. There's this misinformation, fake news out there that it was the Jews against the Greeks. Did you hear that? It's the Jews against the Greeks. It's true. It was the Jews against the Greeks. It was the Jews against the Greeks and the Jews. Have you ever heard the term Hellenist or Hellenized? A Hellenist is a Jew who is enamored with Greek culture from the word Hellene, because Hellenes are the Greeks after their god, Helen or Helena. It was a civil war. In fact, the main reason why the Greeks were even there was because the Jews asked them to come in to stamp out the pockets of the religious Jews who were not down with this whole Grecian way of life. It was a culture war. But you see, if you study history, you will find, we already dedicated it in honor of the birthday, and the birthday girl is here, Baruch Hashem. So, by the way, you should know, this is the day before she has to go back to Eretz Israel. So this is tremendous, tremendous dedication. So, the Greeks, when they would conquer people, which they did often and rather well, they did not impose their will religiously. The Greeks were very open-minded about your particular religion. They were. They learned this from the Persians because the Greeks conquered the world from the Persians. And the Persians learned this lesson from the Assyrians. They realized that if you attack somebody and you're victorious and you take them over, and then you impose your God on them, they will fight you. They will fight you. But if you say to them, worship Hayai, just dame el dinero every year when it's tax time, and then we're all good, why would they fight you? It's cool. So they learned this from the Persians. The Persians looked around at the people who were before them and they're like, they can't manage an empire. Everyone's always fighting with them. But us, we're going to do this right. Religious freedom. And so did the Greeks. The Greeks had religious freedom. Why all of a sudden did they take away the religious freedom of the Jews? And they did. They told them, you're not allowed to have circumcision anymore. You're not allowed to have Shabbat anymore. You're not allowed to learn Torah anymore. Torah was punishable by death. Can you imagine? You learn Torah, I'm going to kill you. I mean, how dangerous is the book anyway? You ask most people, want to learn Torah? No, it's boring. It's boring. I mean, it's not dangerous. It's just boring for most people. So why would they do something like this? The truth is, it's really, it's horrible. I'll tell you why. It's horrible. The Greeks were brilliant. Brilliant geniuses. You know what they figured out? It doesn't matter how you worship. It doesn't matter. As long as you go to the academy, as long as you go to the gymnasium, and as long as you go to the theater, worship however you like. You want to worship Hashem, you want to worship Jesus. I mean, there was no Jesus yet, but you want to worship Zoroaster, you want to worship the god of the fire, your ancestral gods, your pagan druids, the goddess of nature, the Asherah. It doesn't matter. They don't care. Why don't they care? Because they will Greekify you. You will be Greek. So you can be Greek that worships Asherah, or Greek that worships Baal, or Greek that worships Dagon. They don't care. Sort of like, you have the United States of America. So like these people have like the Floridian flag, and these people have the Illinois flag. I'm from Florida. I don't know what the Florida flag looks like. I mean, I've seen it. I did a project in it in like 5th grade, but like, who cares, right? Doesn't matter. I know what the American flag looks like. Have your own little local god. It doesn't make a difference. I'll see you in the gym. I'll catch you, we'll go together to the theater. You can go to your little shul, go to your little church, go to your little mosque, go to your little temple, and do your thing. We're all going to be Greek at the end. It doesn't matter. You know who figured this out, by the way, recently? The Americans. The Americans. They don't conquer you with missiles. They conquer you with Walmart. They kill you with Nike. That's how they kill you. They kill you by beaming their culture into the eyes of your children on the big screen in the front of the living room. That's how they conquer you. They don't actually have to fight you at all. Brilliant. So then why did the Greeks all of a sudden put their foot down and start disallowing Jews from their religious freedom? It seems like a very, very un-Greek thing to do. The answer's simple. Because it didn't work. The Greek strategy that worked with everyone else didn't work with some of the Jews in Judea. And why not? Because you'll notice that, again, when it comes to religious mechanics, it doesn't matter who you're aiming your prayers at. It doesn't matter which ritual you do. Do you do the ritual where you pour the water on the baby? Or do you do the ritual where you put the baby in the water? Do you do the ritual where you drink the wine? Or do you do the ritual where you drink the water? It doesn't matter, as long as we're all the same culturally. But you see, Torah is not about mechanics. Torah is not about mechanics. Torah is about what emerges from those mechanics. Judaism is about the way that you will live and the culture you will have that emerges from what your actions are. It's not to be found in the actions. So at first, the Greeks were like, yeah, no problem, man, worship your thing, that's okay. You want the seventh day to be the day of rest instead of the first day or instead of the fifth day? It doesn't matter. That's cool. But your culture is the stories that you tell and the music that you listen to and the values that you hold dear and the thoughts that you have. It's your mind, it's your body, it's your emotions, it's your soul. That's your culture. And it wasn't working on the Jews, or at least on some of the Jews. And that was a problem. And they had to deal with it. So they did. Violently. Very, very violently. Now, would you say that that's relevant today? Would you say that the culture war is relevant today? Would you say that the greatest existential threat on your children, is it that people are trying to make them not keep Shabbat? Or is it that South Beach is open on Saturday? They're not killing you for being religious. They're killing you with Walmart. And again, it's not adversarial at all. It's an open melting pot. It's an open book. Come in, come in, come in, come in, come in. Come in. Be like me. It's all good. Take my values. Modern values. Not this ancient, silly, archaic stuff. Not this stuff from thousands of years ago. Come on, man, we're modern. We're modern. We know better values now. You're going to have the values of 2,000 years ago? Really? Really? What are you, a dinosaur? Would you say that's relevant? I can't think of anything that's more relevant than that. I think that's highly relevant. So Chanukah is very, very relevant. Very relevant. The only problem, of course, is that what does that have to do with a menorah? What does this have to do with little oil? And it's strange, bizarre. So let's go to the word for a moment. Where's my marker? There's my marker. Okay, marvelous. Why do we call it Chanukah? Well, we call it Chanukah because, as everyone knows, on the 25th day of the month of Kislev, they were able to rest from the battle. And therefore, Chanukah means Chanu. Chanu means they encamped. And Chaf Hey is an acronym, 25. Chaf in numerology is 20, and Hey is 5. They rested on the 25th. They rested on the 25th. Raise your hand if you've heard this. I'm just curious. If I see how many of you were educated at Hillel. You were, right? There we go. Yes. So that's why we call it Chanukah, right? No. It's incredibly silly. It's unbelievable. So I'm going to read for you for a little bit from the book of the Maccabees. Very good. Okay. Yehuda Maccabee said to his brothers, by the way, you know, there's this very, very also common misconception that the people that fought against the Greeks were called the Maccabees. That's not true. There was one guy called Maccabee. One guy, Yehuda. Yehuda was called Maccabee. You know why? Because he was badass. Okay, this guy, you didn't want to mess with him. Maccabee means hammer. Yeah, he was like, yeah. Okay, anyway, so then Yehuda said to his brothers, now that our enemies have been crushed, let us go up and purify the sanctuary and rededicate it. So the whole army assembled, and they went up to Mount Zion. And there they saw that the sanctuary was desolate. The altar was desecrated. The altar is the Mizbeach where they used to do all the sacrifices. And they tore their clothes. And they cried. Remember, they hadn't been there in years. Years they hadn't been there. Because they couldn't be. The Greeks wouldn't let them go. So they cried. And they sprinkled their heads with ashes. And they bowed. They cried out to Hashem. And then Yehuda appointed men to purify the sanctuary. He chose blameless priests devoted to the law, because there were many, many priests who were in fact dedicated to the Greeks. So he chose priests who were, the right kind of priests. And they carried away the stones that had been defiled. And they decided that they should probably tear down the altar. This is the altar where for hundreds of years they had brought sacrifices to God, but they said that these Greeks had defiled it. So they couldn't have it that way, so they tore it down, and they stored the stones in a suitable place until a prophet would come, which is fascinating, but that's a different talk for a different day. And they repaired the sanctuary and the interior of the temple, and they consecrated the courts, and they brought the lampstand and the incense and the table and blah, 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 blah. And they lighted the lamps, and they put incense on the altar, and they illuminated the temple, and they put loaves on the table and hung up the curtains, and they finished all the work. They rose early on the morning of the 25th. Yes? 25th, and they made sacrifices according to the law and built a new altar for offerings. And now, on the anniversary of that day, they rededicated songs and harps and lyres and cymbals, and all the people prayed to God. And for 8 days they celebrated the dedication of the altar and joyfully offered burnt offerings and sacrifices of deliverance and praise. Yay! So nice. What's not mentioned here? Ah, that's right, not mentioned. But they do call it a dedication. How do you say dedication in Hebrew? Chanukah. The word Chanukah does not mean they rested on the 25th. The word Chanukah means dedication. Now, I don't mean dedication as in I'm a very, very dedicated person. I mean dedication in a different way, and we're going to discuss it. Why did Judah set up an 8-day holiday? Where did he get the first? We're going to have a celebration for 8 days because we have rededicated the altar. Well, where do you find dedication of the altar? Who would have thought? In the Torah. In the Torah. Yehuda didn't come up with this idea. This was not an original notion to make an 8-day holiday and call it Chanukah. It is, in fact, a very old idea, and I will read it for you. It says, after the Jews built the original temple, which is the tabernacle, the Mishkan, the Jews built the Mishkan. And it took a while. They had us a lot of money. It was a big building campaign. We're trying to raise $40 million. The temple, you guys are getting off cheap, okay? I'm just telling you right now. So they finished the temple, and then they erect it for 7 days. And on the eighth day, all of the princes of the Jews, there are 12 tribes, and all the princes came together. And what did they want to do? Then the leaders brought forward offerings for the dedication of the altar on the day it was anointed. How do you say that in Hebrew? Vayakrivu hanesiim. They came close, they sacrificed the princes, ate Chanukat hamizbeach, the Chanukah of the altar, the dedication of the altar on the day that it was anointed. And each prince brought a certain sacrifice to dedicate the altar. Okay, that's wonderful. So they all thought that they would come on the same day. But then God says to Moshe, no, actually we're going to have 12 different days. Every single prince gets a day. So who's going to go first? Who do you think? Which tribe do you think goes first? Judah. Yeah, Judah goes first. The tribe of kings. So the first one, who was the guy to offer on the very, very first day his sacrifice? Nachshon ben Aminadav l'Mata Yehuda. Nachshon, son of Aminadav, from the tribe of Judah. And what is his offering? I'll read it to you in the English. His offering was 1 silver bowl. It weighed 130 shekels. 1 silver basin of 70 shekels. Both of them with fine flour mixed with oil for a meal offering, and a golden ladle filled with incense, and a young bull, and a ram, and a sheep, and a he-goat, and a peace offering of 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 sheep. This is so important. There's going to be a test afterwards on how many sheep and how many goats. I hope you're writing this down and taking your notes. Very wonderful, very important that he brought this beautiful, magnificent gift that for some reason the Torah sees fit to write down. Okay, and now it's the next day. Remember, there are going to be 12 such days. On the next day, it was the prince of Yisachar, who's Netanel ben Suar. And it's his turn. Now it's his turn for the dedication. What does he bring? He brought his offering, 1 silver bowl. Its weight is 130 shekels. And 1 silver basin, 70 shekels. And both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil for the meal offering. 1 golden ladle, 1 bull, 1 ram, 1 sheep. And then, for the peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 sheep. Let's try the third one. On the third day, it was the Nasi of Zevulun. And what do you think he brought? I'll give you a hint. He brought a silver bowl. How much do you think it weighed? There you go, 130 shekels. And 1 silver basin. How much do you think it weighed? 70 shekels, very good. And both of them were filled with fine flour mixed with oil for a meal offering. 1 golden ladle filled with incense. 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 sheep in the first year of his life. Are you getting the trend yet? Yes. Very, very original offerings. And then it was the 4th day. You want me to go on? Oh my God. 12 times. 12 times. Now, Now, this is like, okay, fine, whatever. Listen, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world that like they all had the exact same party planner. They the same thing. Fine. I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is, if you go to shul on Shabbat morning, as I do, how shall I put this delicately? You don't want the service to take longer than it has to, okay? Like you like a service that's nice, you're not rushing, but also do me a favor, you don't have to schlep, yeah? You don't have to schlep. When the rabbi talks for 15 minutes, you're okay. He talks for 17 minutes, you want to throw a book at his head. This is not me. I heard from a friend. So you have to read the Torah reading. You have to read the Torah reading, and every week there's a Torah reading, and the rabbis, in their merciful natures, did not have them read massive amounts of Torah. Massive amount. That would take too long. That would take way too long. Do you know what the longest parsha in the Torah is? That one. Naso. It's the longest one. You know why it's the longest one? Because it's the same paragraph 12 times. Now, I was not consulted when they wrote the book, okay? I was not. But had I been consulted, you know what my first redaction would have been? Here's what you can do to save space. You can write, all 12 princes brought this korban, list the korban once, and you're good. And then I get out of shul 20 minutes earlier, high five. You're telling me 12 times? Come on. That's a problem, yes? It's a problem? Another problem, you dedicate an altar? What does that mean? Because we use words all the time, right? People say words all the time and we think we know what the word means, so we intuit what you mean by, it's a dedication. What does dedication mean? Well, we made a new building and it was $40 million and now we have to make a party. Why do you have to make a party? Because people gave us $40 million. They deserve a party, okay? We're gonna make a party. We're gonna have a building dedication, and we're gonna snap a ribbon, and we're gonna put up a big plaque, and we're gonna eat. Is that what a dedication is? The dedication equals party? That's the point? That's the point? Furthermore, it says this was the offering of the princes on the day that the tabernacle was dedicated. On the day. But that's not true. How do I know that's not true? That's right, it was 12 days. What are you talking about? This is on the day. It wasn't on the day. That's false. That's a lie. It was not the dedication of the princes on the day that the altar was anointed. It was, in fact, 12 days after, in succession. Bizarre. Totally bizarre. I'll tell you why. Unbelievable. This is unbelievable. The word Chanukah, which we said means dedication, actually sounds a lot like another word. And we're in the school, so you should all know what the word is. The word is chinuch. Chinuch. What does chinuch mean? Education. Very good. Education. You're telling me that you have to educate an altar? Okay, altar. We're going to put the fire on you.
Orient people.
To orient the people to what?
With the new altar, to see how you...
So we're educating them how to use the altar. I like that. Why would you use the same word, dedication and education? Jews, we're very good with words. Yes? We're good with words. Football, not so good. Words, very good. Chess, pretty good. Numbers, very good. Right? This is what we're good at. It's okay. We can say what we excel at and what we're perhaps less excelled at. So we like words. We couldn't think of a new word, one for dedication and one for education. Like we couldn't do that. The Americans are so much smarter. They figured out that there should be two words. In Hebrew, if it's the same word, because it means the same thing. But why would education and dedication be the same? They're obviously not. They're obviously not. So in order to answer this, I'm going to take you to another time in the Torah where it says this word, and this takes us all the way back to Genesis, to Bereshit, to the portion of Lech Lecha. It says that there was a war between 4 kings and 5 kings. Big world war in the area, big war, lots of fighting, and Sodom was one of the areas that got brought into the fighting, and it happened to be that our grandpa, Abe, had a nephew who lived in Sodom. And what was his name? That's right, Lot. Lot lived in Sodom, so Lot gets captured. And Avram hears that his nephew was captured by the 4 kings who were very, very mighty. They're very mighty. Well, what would you do if you heard your nephew got captured? The answer is you do nothing. You can't do anything. What are you going to do about it? I mean, if you're Vladimir Putin, you could do something about it, but he's probably the one who captured your nephew in the first place. So there's nothing you can do. Avraham's not like that, right? Avraham's like, ha, I'm going to get him, right? So he's going to go get him. Vayishma Avram ki nishba achiv. And Avram hears that his nephew, well, his brother really, because he's like a brother to him, he hears that his nephew was captured. What does he do? Vayarek et chanichav yilidei beito. So he mustered, he arms for war. He armed chanichav. Chanichav. His students. You imagine a bunch of yeshiva guys marching out the war. He arms his students. Listen, I love my students. They're wonderful. If I need to play Fortnite, they're going to do for me. If we need to invade Iraq again, I'm not sending these. These are not the people that you want to send. No. He arms his students? Really? Chanichav? Crazy. The answer is yeah, that's exactly who he arms. He arms his students. 380 of them. And they win. Now that's weird. That's like, what? How did you? Okay, God, miracles, blah, blah, blah. No, Avram was not thinking about miracles. Avram was doing what made sense to him to do. You know why? I'll tell you why. You don't win wars. You don't win wars because you have larger armies. You win wars because the larger army follows you. Which means that if Avram can succeed in turning all of the armies of the world against those people, he's gonna win. So he goes to war not with a sword. He goes to war with a microphone. He goes with a mic. And he takes them down. And Rashi here, the quintessential commentator, says as follows. He says, Chanichav. What does that mean? What does the word mean, Chanichav? He says, well, it's a language of chinuch, of education. V'hu lashon, and it is a language of hatchalat knisat ha'adam okeli. It is the beginning of entering a person or a vessel, a tool, le'umnut shehu atid la'amod ba, to the job that he will in the future do. Meaning, what does chinuch mean? Not to educate. Chinuch means taking the man, the person, or the tool, and putting it in the direction that it will, in the future, be used for. That's what a dedication is. A dedication is not an education. It's not information. It's direction. A dedication is when you take this child and you say, this is what you're here for. Do this. You take a tool and say, this is what this tool exists for. You take a house and say, this is what the house exists for. That's Chanukah. That's chinuch. And Rashi continues, and he says, V'chein, similarly, where do you find a concept like this? Chanoch lena'ar al pi darko. Chanoch lena'ar. Do Chanukah to your child in accordance with his way. Or Chanukat hamizbeach. Our sentence right here. Or Chanukat habayit, which refers to the palace of David. You do Chanukah by all these things. You have Chanukah on your kid, and you have Chanukah in your school, and you have Chanukah in your house, and you have Chanukah in your temple. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Why does the Torah tell me that there are 12 different guys, and they all dedicate the same bloody thing? The same thing. And you write it 12 times, and they're all dedicating the same thing. Why didn't they just get together and say, hey guys, let's going to dedicate it in one day? Baffling. I'll tell you why. No one was more shocked than they were when the sacrifices ended up being the same. They couldn't believe it. They worked on it for a year. They called their best party planners. This is your coming out party. This is your party. You are the prince of a tribe. You got boku dollars. You're a billionaire, and it's your tribe's turn to show up with your korban. How much time and energy and money do you think was spent? If you had a float in the Macy's Day Parade, Like you care a lot. And they all ended up with the same thing. Wow. Why? How? How is that even possible? The idea is each and every prince of each and every tribe said, this altar is going to serve all of us collectively and individually. Well, I want to dedicate it in our way. Every tribe is different, which is true and beautiful and glorious. Every tribe is different. So Judah says, I want to dedicate the altar to our way of life. And Yisachar says, and so do I. And Zvulun says, so do I. And Benjamin says, so do I. And God says, so do I. And Asher says, so do I. And they do that 12 times. And then they show up with the same thing. Why? God was having a field day. He was laughing. You can spend a whole year thinking about how to symbolize your tribe's dedication. And you know what you're going to find? You're all the same. You manifest the same. The symbolism's different. Each tribe is different. They have their own personality. But outwardly, it's going to come out the same. You're all equal. You're all equal. Fascinating. So God says, of course you have to write it 12 times. They're not the same thing. They're 12 totally unique, completely unique sacrifices. They happen to look the same, with the same number of bulls and the same weight of silver and gold. They're totally different things. That's what Chanukah means. Chanukah is a dedication. It's a dedication. It is setting something on the trajectory of its life and its focus of what that is going to be for the rest of its use. That's what Chanukah means. Okay, now what does that have to do with oil and lamps? Doesn't seem to have anything to do with oil and lamps. So I want to read something for you. I want to read this from you. This is from the prophet Zechariah. Whoops. This is from the prophet Zechariah, which happens a few hundred years before Chanukah. Zechariah is one of the last prophets. And he's writing about his vision that he has. He has this really weird vision. And it says, Vayeshev hamalach hadover bi vayar'eni ki ish asher ya'aver mishnato. And the angel came to me and woke me up as a person who wakes up from his dream, meaning he was startled by this angel. The prophet Zechariah is started by an angel. Vayomer Eli, and he said, Ma taroeh, what do you see? And he said, well, I see, he has this prophetic vision. He goes, I see a golden menorah, and there's a big bowl on top of it, and it's 7 legs. Is that called legs? Branches? 7 branches. And its 7 branches are connected to this bowl that's on top of it. Each one is connected by 7 little golden tubes. And then there are 2 olive trees. There's an olive tree on the right and an olive tree on the left. And the olive trees are pumping the oil into the bowl, and the bowl is pumping the oil into the menorah, and the menorah is lighting. Okay? So I said to the angel, Ma ele Adoni, what are these? It's a nice picture, but like, what's this? Vayana malach, and the angel said, Vayomer Eli, halo yadata mahem ha'ele? Don't you know what they are? You're looking at it, you don't know what it is? Va'amar lo Adoni, and I'm like, no, I don't know what it is. Vayan, and he answers, Vayomer Eli lemor, and he says to me to say as follows, Zeh devar Adonai el Zerubbabel lemor. These are the words of God to Zerubbabel, who was the leader of the Jews who took them in to build the second temple. This is the message. This is the message, the angel says to the prophet. Lo b'chayil v'lo b'koach ki im beruchi, amar Adonai Tzvaot. Lo b'chayil, not with valor, not with might. V'lo b'koach, not with strength. Ki im beruchi, but rather with my spirit, says God. You don't conquer Israel with a big army. You don't conquer Israel with your bravery. You don't conquer it with your strength. You will not win the temple with missiles. And you won't win the temple with Iron Dome. Ki'im beruchi. With my spirit. That's how. That's how you will win. That's how you will build it. This vision happens 200 years before the Chanukah story. The symbol of the menorah, according to the Torah, You see it, black on white. I didn't make that up. You can go look it up in Zechariah in the 4th chapter. The symbol of the menorah is as follows. Lo b'kayil, v'lo b'koach, ki'im beruchi. Not with valor, not with strength, with my spirit. Let's go back for a moment to our story of Chanukah, shall we? So you have the Greeks. This is the mightiest army on the planet Earth. By a lot, by the way, by a mile. By a mile. It's not like America's fighting China, and America's a lot stronger than China for right now. This is America. It's not even America and Vietnam. This is America fighting Bangladesh. This is America fighting Mexico. It's not really a fight. And yet, this ragtag group of little priests, by the way, again, yeshiva bachrim basically, take down the Greek army. Lo b'chayil, v'lo b'koach, ki'im beruchi. Not with valor, not with strength, with my spirit, God says. How are you going to celebrate this victory? What was the miracle? The miracle was the war. Of course that was the miracle. The miracle was the war. So you're going to go celebrate a war? It's not about the war. It's not about the war. It's never about the war. The war is just how it plays out. We're going to celebrate the menorah. We are going to celebrate the menorah. The idea of the menorah, lo b'chayil, lo b'koach, ki'im beruchi. That's how you win the culture war, and that's how you win fighting wars. That's how you win. You win with Chanukah, with dedication. Not being dedicated to something, but being clear about something. Very, very clear. So when we educate our kids, by the way, we do it all wrong. We do many things wrong, but it's terrible. It's not about information. Education is not about information. Chinuch is about direction. Chinuch is about explaining to the children who they are and why they exist and what they're here for. The Torah used the word Chanukah by a house. It says if you have a house, you have to have Chanukah for your house. What does that mean? Mezuzah. Mezuzah, the Targum says. I have to have Chanukah for my house. What's my house here for? It's a place to live? What do you mean? Every badger has a place to live. Every monkey has a tree. Every woodpecker has a little place in its tree. Is that your home? No, mezuzah. What are you here for? What are you doing? What's the function of your home? What are you trying to do with your kids? It's very funny. I'm not going to say anything bad about the Maccabee games because I enjoy them. But do you understand the irony? Do you understand the irony about having Maccabee games on Chanukah? Do you understand the irony of that? It's Greek. It's Greek. Literally. It's Greek. We're losing. We're losing. Now, by the way, doesn't mean you can't play sports. So here's what I have to explain. Who were the Greeks and what were they about? First and foremost, number one, beauty. Beauty and aesthetics. That was Greece. That was Greece. Do you know what the word gymnasium means? Gymnos. Naked. Naked. That's what it means. Because you play sports in the nude. Why? Because I'm perfect. Obviously not me, it's funny, but the Greeks. If I was Greek, I would look good. Perfection of the human body. So you're telling me that Jews don't care about beauty? That's ridiculous. What do you mean Jews don't care about beauty? It says about our mothers. It says about Sarah. It says about Rivka. It says about Rachel. They were beautiful. Why are you telling me they were beautiful if it's not important? It's very important. It's very important. It's like we say in Eshet Chayil, Sheker achein vehevel hayofi. Grace is nothing, it's a lie. Hevel hayofi, beauty is fleeting. Isha yirat Adonai, hi titala. A woman who fears God, she should be exalted and praised. You know what the Vilna Gaon says? He says, you're reading it wrong. It means beauty, garbage. Grace, nothing. In a woman who fears God, her beauty and her grace are praiseworthy. Beauty's not nothing. Grace is not nothing. It's nothing if that's all you are. If you're only that, if you're all about the way you look, then you're garbage. If you have Yirat Hashem, if you have fear of God, hitatalal, then your beauty is wonderful, your beauty is beautiful, your beauty is exalted, your beauty is praiseworthy. Of course we would love beauty. Money. Materialism. Jews don't like money. Since when do Jews not like money? But you see the difference between Esav and Yaakov in last week's portion. Esav says, I have a lot. I have a lot. Don't give me any money. I have a lot. Yaakov says, it's okay, take it. I have everything. I have everything. But the guy who had a lot had more than the guy who had everything. Like, what does that mean? Well, because when you say I have a lot, it means I have a lot, but there's more. I can have a little more. That'd be nice. Yaakov's like, I have everything. Was Yaakov rich? Loaded. Loaded. Money's wonderful. Is it a means or is it an end? What's the point of your money? So we say, well, what do you mean? I educate my children. I tell them to give tzedakah. You do. We all do. And that's beautiful. And that's beautiful. We teach our children kids to give tzedakah. Let me ask you a question. It's not just you, it's me. We're the same, right? It's sad. We teach our kids to give tzedakah, and we mean it. But when's the last time we came home excited about the tzedakah we gave? We're so excited. I'm not saying we don't say you have to give tzedakah. We do. When's the last time you came skipping into the house from the tzedakah that you gave? Never. Never. Tell me. How did you come into the house when you got the new car? Yo. Check it out! I got it! And they had my color! High five! We're excited. There's nothing wrong with having a nice car. There's nothing wrong with it. Beautiful house, beautiful car, beautiful people, beautiful clothes, lots of money. Nothing wrong. Unless it's about the house and the car and the clothes and the beauty and the money. It's not enough to teach the kids to give tzedakah. It's not enough. It's not enough to put a mezuzah on the wall. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough to wear the yarmulke, wear the tzitzis, do the Shabbos. Not enough. It's not about the education. It's not about the pieces of information. It's about the dedication. It's about what are you here to do. It's about taking the thing and shoving it on its trajectory. It's about what you're here for. We should have all these things, but you have to have them like Yaakov. You have to use them for things that matter. And then they're exalted. The beauty is exalted, the money is exalted, the life is exalted, the love is exalted. It's wonderful. If it becomes about the thing, Greeks. Not with valor, not with power. Ki'im beruchi. Ki'im beruchi. God's Spirit. That's what Chanukah is about. It's about dedication. We have to dedicate ourselves. We have to dedicate our children. And more, because we're going to focus on that. I know we will. But there's a third thing. We have to dedicate each other. We have to do that too. And that's much harder. That's much harder because it's, I control my kids until they're, 4. But like at some point, right? But you're mostly someone within your control and your influence. And then myself, I control myself, except for when my wife tells me to do things. And we can work on ourselves. We can work on our children. But when's the last time you went over to your neighbor and tried to get him to do Shabbat dinner? When's the last time we did that? When's the last time we called our friend and told him to give tzedakah? When's the last time we did that? Not enough. Not enough. You don't live on an island. You live in a community. Not with valor, not with power. Ki'im beruchi. Have a great Chanukah. Chanukah Sameach. Oh yeah, questions, for sure. Of course questions, always questions. It's about the menorah. It's the message of the menorah from the vision of Zechariah. It has nothing to do with... Doesn't matter. It's an irrelevant miracle. Maybe happened, maybe didn't, doesn't matter.
No, not that. I mean, so then why actually light? Is it to show others? Is it to bring the community? Is it
Oh my God, I should have talked about that. What a great question. Why are you lighting candles, right? Is it about me? Is it about the other person? I'm so happy. Listen, this is great. Hanukkah is a crazy holiday. It makes no sense. The mitzvah of Chanukah, we all know, because we, Scheck Hillel, we all know this, right? You take out the menorah, it has 8 lights, and 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. That's the mitzvah of Chanukah. Wrong. It's not. Not the mitzvah of Chanukah. Mitzvah of Chanukah is 1 candle per family. But if you want to do it beautifully, the Talmud says, it's Gemara on Shabbos, if you you want to do it beautifully, then one candle for everyone in the house. And if you want to do it mehadrin min ha-mehadrin, beautiful of all the beautiful, then what do? 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5 and then 6 and then 7 and 8. It's all about pirsume nisa. It's all about spreading the miracle. It's about people seeing it. That's why when is the time that we light? You have to light when people are around. You're not allowed to light your candles after shetichla regel min hashuk, which means when there are no people walking around anymore. It's too late to light. You missed your chance. Because the whole point is that they see. The whole point is that they see. Right? Have you ever seen a more communal mitzvah than that? The whole mitzvah is for people to see. You're showing what we're about. We're taking a stand. We're saying we're not Greek. We're not Greek. Can I have a Hanukkah tree? No, you cannot. No, you cannot, if you want my opinion. I mean, do whatever the heck you want. I'm a libertarian. But can you have a Hanukkah tree? No. Can you have Hanukkah tinsel? No. Can you have Hanukkah stockings? No. But why not? There's nothing wrong with it. I agree. There's nothing wrong with it. But the message is absolutely 180 degrees from what you're supposed to be sending. It's the opposite message. Why would you have a Hanukkah tree? Because there's Jewish Christmas. That guy's red and green or red and white. I'm blue and white. There's nothing wrong with Christmas. I love Christmas. It's the most wonderful. It is. Everyone's nice on the streets, very beautiful. You go to Macy's in New York. It's right. But that's not what we're doing. That's not what this is. This is not a celebration of a local little event. This is an existential war that we're waging with ourselves of who we're going to be. It's a war with ourselves. We're not fighting other people. We're fighting ourselves. We're fighting getting sucked into something. We don't want our values to be those values. We want our values to be our values. And we think our values are awesome. Yes, they're very old. Well, yeah, they're very old. You know what's very old? Truth. Truth is very, very old. It's been around since forever. What, you think every 10 years when you change your values, that's going to lead you to somewhere better? You know who thought that? Everyone else has always thought that. And they don't have the same values as their grandchildren. We've spoken about this 1,000 times. But yeah, it's a great question. Any other questions? No? Happy birthday, Annabella.